hours of the regular show on terrestrial radio, and you wanted a little bit more, so that's why you found the Gun Talk After Show podcast, where we saved all the best things that we can't say on regular radio. Now here's Tom, Michelle, and Jim for the Gun Talk After Show.
It's the After Show where we gather together to kind of cover the ground that we already covered. And why do we do this anyway, guys?
Because it's after the show.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be called after.
It would be called the during the show.
I think the show is just a 3-hour tease for this, isn't it?
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
All that build-up.
Michelle Cleland, Jim Kinsey with us today.
Hello.
Michelle, first
Yes.
okay, well, I'm going to ask you a question. We had a caller asking about the whole process for appeal. We're going to have you explain that for us in just a minute.
Yeah.
But first, we have to talk with Roland, who's calling us out of Ordway, Colorado. Hey, Roland, you're on the After Show.
Good afternoon, Tom.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I can't say that I get to listen to you in a timely manner, but I've been listening to a lot of your old podcasts since the beginning of the year here and kind of cramming on them.
Cool.
And I hear the concern that you have as far as own gun rights, and I've got the very same concerns.
Okay.
And much like a lot of people, I'm tired of, let's say, capitals of the state sending down whatever they think to be appropriate for us.
Edicts, yeah.
In my case, Denver tries to dictate what is good for everybody else. And
Sure.
Denver doesn't know what I'm doing out here. And the state of Illinois, a lot of folks have took that a little further. They're tired of Chicago and Springfield dictating what's going on as far as their guns and gun rights. So here back around, I guess April or so, the county where I grew up, which happens to be Effingham County in Illinois, they decided to become the second sanctuary county in, I believe, the nation for gun owners.
That's right. I remember seeing that story where basically they're saying, okay, whatever gun control laws you pass on the state level, we plan to ignore them here and we will not enforce them in our county.
Well, that has took fire there. And I was just talking to the Effingham County board member, Dave Campbell, this last week because I was looking to try to introduce the same thing here in Crowley County, Colorado. And was just talking with Dave, and he says they've got 40 counties right now in Illinois that declared themselves sanctuary counties.
40 counties?
And
Wow.
40 counties. And
that kind of gels with what I've always thought, which is that Illinois is really not an anti-gun state. It just has an anti-gun city that has enough population to drive the whole state. It's kind of like the whole Denver, Colorado thing you're talking about.
Absolutely. And he's got people he's been in contact with in California, Oregon, Utah, and various other parts of the nation that are looking to try to do the same things in their states. And I thought, when I was talking to him, I said, you talked to Tom Gresham about this? And he said, no, but I've been on CNN and Fox and different places. I said, well, Tom's really passionate about this. And I was sitting there listening to one of your podcasts today. It's like, I'm going to see if I can get to it and put something in your ear because he might be worth having on as a guest sometime for you to talk about this further because I'm no expert at this. This is one of his bailiwicks.
Right. Now, what's his name?
David Campbell.
Okay.
He's an Effingham County Commissioner, and if you query sanctuary gun states, which is what I wound up doing on Google, there's numerous articles that pop up on different people who are really, really driving this thing. And,
Interesting.
and I'm like so many other people. I work 3 days on, spend my fourth day off trying to wrap up the stuff that I was supposed to be doing on my first 3 days,
Right.
and then maybe I get 3 days of rest to try to recuperate and get back to work for the next 3. And I don't have a lot of energy to show up. But you know what? I could help push something like this locally.
That's what I was going to ask you. If you would have the energy if you had a half a dozen buddies that would all do it together with you. You guys could use it as a kind of a get-together excuse as well as everything else.
Well, I'm going to be pushing this here in Crowley County. I talked to one of my commissioners this week, and we were talking about this, and he's really on board looking at this and seeing where maybe we can go with this. And I know a lot of the local law enforcement establishment here in Otero County where I work, and we're going to see if we can put some bugs in the air out here and start something rolling from out here in southeast Colorado and see if we can roll this right up to Denver.
Michelle, you have any thoughts on that?
Well, no, I had a question, because how does that work? Is that something that is put out there and then voted on, or you need signed, petition forms? How does that even work?
Well, what they're doing is they're passing this as a resolution at the county level. So in the case of, I believe, Effingham County, they sit down, they put together a resolution. The county board voted on it and basically put it into play. In my case out here in Crowley County, we don't have a county board. We've got 3 county commissioners who kind of establish the rules for the county. And
Well, you know what's going to be critical in all of that is the sheriff.
Right.
If the sheriff is with you on that, you can make it happen. If the sheriff comes in and says, that's a bad idea, I don't want that, then it's not going to happen. And I'm thinking that's got to be first thing, is to line up your sheriff, because he is the highest law enforcement officer in the county.
Well, in the case of Effingham County, they even had the state's attorney on board on theirs.
Terrific.
So,
I love the idea. I think it is great. I think we ought to be doing it. You know what? And people say, well, it doesn't really have the force of law. You can't decide to not enforce the law. But you know what? It makes a statement, and it gets out there in front of people, and every time it happens, it gets news, and you keep beating the drum, and it gets people involved. I think it's a great idea.
It can cause migration, too. So it also it changes a growth situation, possibly, right?
Sure. I would like to live in a county like that.
You knew you were protected?
And the other thing here, folks, is this is our way of saying, you want to make us a sanctuary state for illegals or a sanctuary county for illegals, we're going to turn the tables on them.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah, that's
right.
part of the whole deal.
Right.
Absolutely. Great idea, Roland, and we're going to work on that. We're going to try to get a hold of David and see if we can get him on the show.
I think that'd be great.
All right. Thanks, sir. I appreciate the call. Tell you what, let's do this, guys. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk about this deal of what do you do if you try to buy a gun, you get delayed or denied. There's a process. But we need to talk about it. So we'll be right back.
For more than 70 years, Timney Triggers has been enhancing the shooter's experience. Whether it's a local competition, a day at the range, or even the hunt of a lifetime. Setting the standard in aftermarket triggers, Timney is now producing more than 170 models of triggers for bolt-action rifles, shotguns, AR rifles, and semi-automatic rifles. Proudly made in the USA since 1946. Find your new trigger at TimneyTriggers.com.
Want great deals on guns, ammunition, and gear? Download the free Gundealio app today. With Gundealio, you can search for deals, listen to the Gun Talk podcast, watch gun videos, read gun news, and get notifications right to your phone about deals and special offers. Save money on the products you want from the companies you love. New deals, discounts, and rebates added daily. Gundealio, available for free in the App Store and Google Play.
All right, we're back with Tom Gresham here. It is the after show. We got Michelle Cleland and Jim Kinsey with us because, well, nobody else would come and join me today. So there it is.
There were thousands of people we turned away at the studio. Right.
All right, Michelle, you got all this retail experience. I know you've had it happen where somebody goes and fills out the form, you do the background check, and the FBI comes back with the next check and says, what, delayed?
Well, they can come back and they say delayed, which is 3 business days, not including the day that it was called in, so if you came in on a Friday, first day would be Monday. Okay. So, there's a process that goes with that. On a delay, they have, like I said, up to 3 days to say yes or no. If they have not come back and they give you a date when you call this in, so it's not like the store makes it up, the person who takes the information says, we'll get back to you, August 28th. If there's no response, then you as a store, as an individual person, has the right to sell this person a firearm. They come back in, they have to re-sign and redate the paperwork. They don't have to fill it all out again, but because there's a different date on the paperwork, it has to be signed again, and they can take home the firearm. Now, if they come back within that 3 days and says, no, that's a flat out denied, then we cannot sell a firearm to them.
Okay, so if the FBI comes back during the 3-day period and says denied, then it stops there.
Right.
But if they say delayed and they don't get back to you, it's up to the store. The store's not required to sell the gun.
That is correct.
The store is allowed to sell the gun. And some will and some won't.
That's right. Some are like, well, if there was question, I'm not going to take a chance, because anything that comes back out of a criminal scene and it gets tied to your license goes against the licensed person.
Right. It goes on your record.
Yes, as selling to whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Whatever it was.
Exactly.
Okay, so what happens if it gets denied?
So if it's denied, and they don't give us the reason, mind you, they just say yes, no, or delay. If it's denied, we have a NICS appeal form, which is the National Instant Background. Mm-hmm. And you go through as your person, fill out this information, but you get the NICS number that was given to us when we made that phone call that gives them a reference as to what they're checking against.
Okay.
And the store has nothing to do with the appeal form. All we do is give the NICS number. So the consumer has to fill out the paperwork. Mm-hmm. It can take a long time.
Yeah. I mean, you're in for a while, because you're going to have to go, I think you have to do a fresh set of fingerprints when you do your appeal. There's the whole thing is all on the FBI's website on how it goes about. And then once the individual has submitted the appeal, you can't check with them to see what the status is.
Right.
They won't tell you during the process.
They send a letter.
They'll send you a letter that says yes or no. But it is true that a lot of the delays, at least, come back because they figured out that actually wasn't the person that they were looking at.
That's correct. Because obviously, they take profile information, right? I mean, they take your name, they take your height, they take where you were born, and all of that goes together, and it's like, well, maybe this is this person, but maybe it's not. So we have to do some more investigating. And you can opt to not put a Social Security number on the federal paperwork. Mm-hmm. We always say, if you're comfortable in putting it out there, put it on there, because it could help identify you from these other people too.
Now, would that be because I've always had a hard time on the 4473s, that they're asking race.
Yeah.
You know, I always thought that was ridiculous and none of their business.
I always tell them, midget racers.
Yes.
Slow, I'm a tortoise.
Right.
NASCAR.
I'm just wondering if that's the one situation where it might help. You know, there's two David Johnsons, and one was a white guy who pulled a bank robbery, but this is a Hispanic guy who's totally law-abiding, but he's been delayed.
Right.
And if that would help.
Of course, we don't know, because they're not going to tell us.
Right.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm curious what the behind-the-scenes stuff. Right. I'm thinking about filing an appeal, even though I got approved, just to throw a monkey wrench at.
No. Every time you get approved, we file an appeal.
You let him buy
but
what?
A bum.
What is wrong with you?
And then the other side of that is the people who are constantly getting a delay or constantly have to go through some kind of denial process. Mm-hmm. They do apply for what I put that information to you is called a UPIN. It's a unique personal identification number. And you, instead of or including that with your driver's license information, put that UPIN number in there, just like you have a concealed carry license number and everything else. It's just your identifier that, okay, yeah, we've already gone through this intensive background. Yeah. We don't need to do it again.
It gets flagged there. They go, oh, wait, he's got a UPIN.
Right.
Okay, we've already okayed this guy. It's okay.
Right. Now, the bad part about this, of course, is as the consumer, maybe this was a collectible firearm. That store's probably not going to hold on to it for you to get this cleared up. And if you send in a friend, it's considered a straw purchase.
Ooh,
so
it's
a felony.
It would be for the store, they're looking at it and going, we'd like to help you, man, but this thing could take months and months. Mm-hmm. And, we're in the business to move guns, so we can't really hold. Now, and there's no way, I'm just thinking, would there be any way that he could, give you all the money and say you got the money to hold it?
100% deposit?
That'd be up to the store. I mean, whatever their management puts out there, Yeah, everybody's different.
Yeah, even at that, because they could end up at the end of it saying, well, we got to give you your money back because we can't sell it to you.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then they've just sat on, they've sat on it, but they haven't. They have.
But they've lost the opportunity to sell it to someone else.
Right, because even though they've had your money, they couldn't put it in their bank.
Right, it's not really their money. Because
right.
As I say, it's...
I know Jim's looking at me like, what? Wait a minute.
It didn't go in the bank. Okay.
Well,
tell me where they keep it, will you?
but it's not an actual purchase made, so
Right. It
Right.
isn't. So.
And you wouldn't want to make it
So there is a system. It is a bit cumbersome, and to your point, I think it's really good information because I've heard from people say, I keep getting these delays.
right.
Well, probably worthwhile to go ahead and file for and get a UPIN so you can try to head that off.
Right, right. This is where it becomes disheartening, right? Because you, as a person, Tom, you do a lot with Dury's guns.
Right.
Well, if they have a firearm of yours that didn't sell, and they say, okay, Tom, we've had this gun for a year, we're going to send it back to you because it hasn't sold. They can't just send it back to you, right? You have to do the federal paperwork. You have to go and pick up the gun. If you, as the previous owner, can't pass the paperwork, you don't get it.
What a mess.
Wow.
Oh, wow. I hadn't thought of that one.
Right. So that's the other side of it. So
that doesn't apply to consignment, though. That would just apply
it's anything. If you take in a firearm and it's put into somebody's acquisition firearm book,
if the dealer takes the firearm, it goes into the book.
You have to sign it out with the 4473.
As a consignment, even.
Yeah.
Really?
Used consignment, doesn't matter.
What a crock of feces. That's ridiculous.
See? That's where a lot of people but I already owned it, and now you're telling me I can't have it back?
Wow, and then you guys look like the bad guys.
Right.
No, it's absolutely true. I just had to go through that with the store. And, we had to fill out the form. And now, to be fair, they didn't charge me the transfer fee that they usually charge, to process a gun.
You have
to get
insult
my
to
own gun
injury.
back. Yeah.
Wow.
But, that's interesting.
Well, in Ohio, there's a new way to get a CCW without going through all the paperwork and stuff we can talk about in a little bit.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that when we come back.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. shopguntalk.com.
All right, Jim, so you said there's a change in the law in Ohio on concealed carry. I just looked that up. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, if you're a veteran, and I don't believe they date it either. If you're a veteran and you're honorably discharged.
I was just going to say, you have to be honorably discharged.
If you're honorably discharged, you still have to pass a background check, but you don't have to pay for the background check. And you don't have to pay for classes to be certified to get a CCW permit. And what's the third point I totally forgot?
The renewal fees.
Oh, yeah, the renewals are free, too. So you still have to qualify. It's not
all
like
that for free.
Yeah, it's not like if you're a vet and came back and did bad stuff, you're going to get a carry permit.
And your lovely governor, Kasich, he vetoed it, right?
Idiot.
And then it got overridden, and he didn't want this because it didn't have a bunch of anti-gun stuff.
Right.
He wanted all kind of gun control laws passed. He said, "Well, I'm not going to let you have your concealed carry for veterans unless you let me have that." And they said, "No, we're just going to ignore you now. You've become irrelevant."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wanted mag capacity things and semi-auto restrictions and everything else. It's like, you got to be kidding me.
Okay, let me just tell you, just to give you an idea of how out of step he is on this. Mm-hmm. This bill passed the House 81-7 and the Senate 31-2.
Yay.
So Ohio standing strong. I tell you, that's great. That's a really good deal.
Yep.
Now, having said that, I want to throw this out. And I know that some states, they don't require any kind of training, don't even require not a background check, don't require actually a permit. Mm-hmm. I'm still going to say, even if you're a veteran, you still need to get some training in self-defense use of firearms, because what you're taught about firearms in the military is not the same as what you need to know for this.
Right, right.
And a lot of times it's learning how to disengage and how important it is, because people say, well, if he does this, I'm just going to shoot him. Well, yeah, that'll send you to the penitentiary. Let's talk about that. Just a few things. And then people all go, well, I didn't know that. Yes. That's why you go take a one-day class, and you learn all about it, and you go, wow, man, I learned a lot of stuff in there. Yes, and it was worth it.
And to back up that statement, think about it. Guys like Tiger McKee and stuff, right? World-class trainers, they haven't stopped training. They continue to seek out people and train and learn. So you can't say, well, I got to this level in service, or I was a cop 20 years ago. I don't care if you're a baker. If you don't continually train, you're going to lose your skills.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of. The problem is, there's a lot to it that you don't know that you need to learn. The old, you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. You don't even know how much it is out there that you are not aware of, and the only way to become aware of it is to get inserted into the middle of it, and then you go, ooh, wow, I didn't know there was all this stuff I needed to know.
Or you can stay unaware and get into politics.
Oh, my gosh.
That too. Exactly.
Clueless.
Oh, gosh. Okay, my favorite call of the day was our 71-year-old grandmother.
Yes.
Was she great?
Awesome.
Cool.
She's said her .38 revolver kicks too much, so she wanted something that kicked less. And I was thinking, well, we'll get her a 327.
I was thinking the same thing, yeah.
And then I said, well, and I just kind of threw it out. I said, well, do you want another revolver, or would you consider a semi-auto? She says, no, I want a semi-auto.
And it wasn't like a good idea, Tom. It was like, yeah, that's what I wanted to do anyway.
Yeah, thank you for
reinforcing.
Exactly.
Could have knocked me over with a feather. I'm going, okay.
I thought the best comment of that was, I want to hit them without throwing it at them.
Something accurate.
That's right. I want to hit them without having to throw the gun at them.
Yeah.
So,
well, the other part,
something accurate. Because I would say, the little bitty guns are just harder to shoot. They are.
They are.
And a mid-size 380 is a really nice package. These kind of, they call them the compacts. They're not full size, but not miniatures.
Right. And, lots of these, you can change out the sights and make it even better. So the fact that it comes with factory sights, throw them out the window if you need to. True Glow makes some that are fiber optic. There's tritium sights. Those, I tell you, those XS big dot.
The big dot? Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. I mean, how perfect. And you can get them with a tritium back or just the little, white.
Especially as you age.
I call it the golf ball on the end of your barrel out there.
Well, and that's the thing, so at 71, she's interested in getting to an easier shooting gun, which might actually be harder to see the sights on because the sights are itty-bitty.
Point.
So, just you find the gun, as long as there's those replacement sights, go for it.
I thought it was cute that she said she carries in her purse or in her belt. Like,
yes,
what a great visual.
Man, I love it. Okay, this is a woman who gets it.
Yep.
And she understands. And so, and I know there's always people who say, oh, yeah, I wouldn't carry 380. Well, okay, you don't have to, but I've shot them side by side with 9s and with 38s into ballistic gelatin, and there's not an inch difference in the penetration.
Get good ammo, right?
Well,
good ammo.
That North American
our ammo is so good now.
That North American Arms 22 the guy was talking about. Not weapon of choice, but it sure beats a stick.
Yeah.
Right.
I would tell you about the cop that I was talking to who made an arrest using his North American Arms 22.
No.
He was, I don't know, some kind of undercover deal. And he had to make a meet with somebody, and he was required to go onto the beach
yes.
to the meet there.
Great story.
And it's like wearing, Speedos or some kind of swim truck. There's nowhere to hide a gun, obviously. So he took this North American Arms mini revolver and put it down inside of his, big gulp cup.
Stop.
Yes, it's down inside of his cup, a drink or whatever he was drinking. He just walked up there drinking a drink, pulls out his pistol, and made the arrest right there.
Oh, my gosh.
Great.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you're not hiding it in a Speedo.
Oh.
We're just not going to go there.
Yeah, no comment. Even from me, no comment. Yeah.
Oh, God. just had 3 more comebacks. I got to keep them all to myself. It's terrible.
It just begs you to jump right into the middle of it with all sorts of inappropriate things
exactly.
to say.
I hate to think I'm maturing. No,
right?
No, trust me, there's no danger of that at all.
Sweet. Precedent.
So, when I grew up, never mind. I'm not going to do that.
The odds of that happening.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. No, she was great.
Well, I tell you, I thought you had a couple of fascinating women on today.
Aren't they interesting? And they are such go-getters.
And we do now.
Oh.
Fascinating, Michelle.
Well, and I love the fact that the FASTER program, which started in Ohio, is now migrating to other states.
Right.
But it takes somebody like this. She came and took the program, took the class in Ohio, and then went back and said, this is crazy. We've got teachers who are willing to give their lives to save their kids. Let's give them the tools so they may not have to die to protect the kids.
Well, from the sounds of the interview, first of all, she's a tremendous spokesperson. It doesn't matter what state she's going to travel to speak, right? I mean, she took all the information that she could get from Ohio to take it to and pass it in her state. But they put her in charge basically because they know her as being a bulldog, right? She was going to go after this and get it done.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We need more. And the fact that I think that it came from a female perspective too, I think gives it more drive in the school systems.
Without a doubt. That's what I said earlier. It really makes a difference. Women can drive this many times much better than men can.
Yep.
Because they're listened to. They're not threatening. They're not, people actually pay attention and they can bring a different perspective. Look, I'm a mother. I'm a teacher. I am you. I am your wife. I'm your mother. You need to listen to me. Is really the message that comes through.
And on the flip side of that, could you imagine being on the other side of the aisle on that topic and you got to go up against her? You'd be going, oh, no.
Exactly.
No.
They're saying, and I love, they always say, we don't want to be, we don't require teachers to carry. Well, you know what? Nobody's talking about requiring that. We're going to allow them to do that only after they have, and it's a full 5-day training course.
So it's
and it's force on force. Yeah, and it's physical. I mean, you got guys with big suits on where you can just bash them and all that kind of stuff. And then at the end, you have to do a full post-qualification shoot, the same that they do in the police department. And I love that when she said, what did she say? We had 2 more shots.
2 more shots, yeah.
So it's harder than the police.
And you got to score 100%. You can't shoot 80s and say, okay, close enough.
Right? Like when you're going into your test, like, okay, if I miss 3, I'll still get up.
Right. It's like, no, you won't.
You know what? You should have just studied math instead of doing that much work.
Oh, gosh.
My.
We won't talk about my my past as a student because it was not stellar. We can just put it that way.
Were you outside more than you were in school?
My head was.
Yeah.
Even when I was inside, my head was outside.
Oh, look, a squirrel.
That's right. Squirrel.
Ooh, that's good eating.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? I need 3 more to make a deal.
That's right. And 6 more, and I'll have a set of gloves.
Oh.
Nice.
Or the guy when I was up in Alaska Magazine, we had the story about the guy living out in the bush. We had all the stories about the guys living in the bush, but this guy, he kept catching, what were they, ermine, I guess. And, of course, he had an outhouse. It was cold, so he made a fur ermine cover, a seat cover, or the seat for his toilet. So we went out there when it was like 30 below, and he sat down on it. It's nice and warm and padded. It's like the finest fur you could find.
Only the best.
Only the best, baby.
Because you don't want to be out there freezing your fur off.
That's right.
Bad.
Okay, so a mid-size 380. If you want something that kicks less and is easy to rack the slide, I think maybe the sweet spot. What do you think?
Yep, agreed.
Yeah.
Those cars are nice.
The Easy Shield anymore. The 938s, the 238s, either in the 9 or the 380, whichever way you wanted to go, were always the easiest ones. Smith & Wesson nailed it with this Easy Slide.
Yes, I agree. It's our choices are so good now. It's actually a little bit bewildering trying to keep up with everything that's out there because they're all cranking out new guns all the time.
Right.
It's nuts.
It's hard to keep track of.
It is,
And then you get one in that model, and it's like, oh, we got a new color. Talk about squirrel. You're like, oh.
Ooh, shiny.
Oh, purple.
I want that. That'll go well with my other outfit.
I'll take it in blue camo.
Blue camo. Why not? Sure. And if you don't like any of those, there's always Cerakote.
I was just going to say Cerakote is everything, right?
That's right. You can Cerakote anything. And let me tell you, some of the stuff they're doing, if you go to the Cerakote website, some of the things that these appliers, or whatever they call them, applicators, people are doing this stuff they're works of art.
Oh, they're beautiful.
They really are.
Some of the flags and I mean, stars and stripes, it depends on what you're looking at, but those are some of the pictures that I've seen, and they're gorgeous.
They really are. Just beautiful stuff. There's some real nice work. And it's a nice coating on a working gun, so you could do it to your handgun, to your hunting rifle. I have one hunting rifle that they did up in the cryptic camo, which looks really cool. So that way, if you lay your gun down and walk away from it, you'll lose it.
You really can't see it. That's happened.
It is. I was just going to say, it has absolutely happened.
It's happened.
I can't find my gun.
Right? Duck hunters out there in the cornfields. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Lay down their camo gun. Help me find my gun. They're all walking around out there.
Tom's sitting here like, oh, yeah. Shaking his head. Like, yep, that's happened.
Yeah, it's real. It does. Okay, and with that, confession hour is over. So
Michelle's off to make her locator beacon you can attach to any shotgun.
Right.
That's right. It's got an RFID
Phone app, yeah.
on it, exactly. Or you could just have it set up remotely so you could fire it.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. Yeah.
It's kind of like calling your own.
Opener. Yeah.
It's like calling your phone so you can find it, right?
Yeah. Attach your cell phone to it.
I like it.
Of course, they do have their, for one of your answering tones, you can have ducks. So I guess that would all work,
true.
Right?
That's just true. You could do that.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Well, you guys have a good week. We're going to bail out of this place.
All right.
We've abused enough of our goodwill, and there's nobody left listening anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah, well, Jim left some good eye candy and thoughts on people's minds.
Better than fur toilets. Come on, for Pete's sake.
Where's past the brain bleach? All righty, guys. Have a good week. We will do this again next week because nobody can stop us.
All right, Tom, take care.
See ya.
Well, that wraps up another Gun Talk After Show. But if you want even more gun-related stuff, don't forget to check out Gundealio. It's the app for Apple and Android phones that connects you to all the Gun Talk shows, plus even more. And we'll catch you next time for the Gun Talk After Show.